Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and of course, we are on Saturday. So, we are going back to our Medicaid series. So, brief disclaimers, folks. Everything that we go through as we're going through this Medicaid series, you're going to be seeing linked right there in the description box for you, just in case you'd like to do a deep dive on your own so you can figure out just how easy it is to apparently defraud Medicaid. Spare me. So you are welcome to check out the links if you'd like to do a little bit of deep diving on your own. Some of the links are from Missouri. I know, it's my state. A lot of them are from my old stomping grounds from the Department of Mental Health Division of DD out here. But that's mainly because it's easier for me to get to, being stored up my cloud for years. And a lot of information regards to Medicaid goes across the board, and the information we're going over is pretty much the same throughout the majority of the 50 states. So, still pertinent information for you to be able to get a hold of. Trigger warnings. We do got this channel marked not for kids for a reason. I use profanity. I curse like a sailor. Or should I say, I curse like an individual that has been in the Army because I'm an Army brat. And I've been surrounded with it my entire life. The other reason is some of the other topics we cover on this channel, such as the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, goes into some pretty dark places. So if you have a child that is 16 and younger and they are watching this channel, parental supervision is very much advised. Also, political trigger warning. If you are gung-ho one political party or another, I am not. And more than likely, through one of these series that I do on this channel, I am probably going to say something that's going to offend you. If that's not something you deal with particularly well, I'm not judging you. I certainly have had situations where I didn't take that kind of crap very well and have done stupid things because of it. Then I encourage you to go ahead and pause this, still go ahead and take a look at the links inside the description box. It's still filled with good information either way. And also, I don't tolerate any flaming, any personal attacks, any catty name calling, or anything that's going to make me have flashbacks to my senior year in high school. I welcome fair, honest debate. Not ad hominem attacks or people accusing one another or being this and that. Nobody has time for that. If that's what you want to do, there's plenty of other platforms for it, but it's not here. Alright? Okay. What we're going to be going over today has to do, like I told you guys I was going to do, with the annual renewal of your Medicaid benefits. So, you get approved for Medicaid, you're about 6 months to a year in, and you are up for renewal. And kind of just like you have to do with Social Security, you could go into the office. Our Family Support Division and the Social Security office are not in the same building. They used to be, but not so much anymore. So usually for me, these particular annual renewals from back in the day, I haven't needed them in over 10 years, but I had to go to 2 separate annual renewals for those. So we're going to find out just how easy it is supposedly to be able to hang on to Medicaid. So let's get started. Alright. The Family Support Division is required to check eligibility of all No Health Net, our version of Medicaid, participants each year. This is called annual renewal. Your annual renewal will be due during your anniversary month or the month when your coverage first began. You can find out when your annual renewal is due to logging into your portal. Here's what you need to do to make sure to not risk losing your coverage. Update your address. When you are due for your annual renewal, FSD will send you a letter in the mail. The annual renewal timeline may help you know when to expect this information. If FSD has enough information to check your eligibility, your letter will say that your coverage is renewed and there's nothing else you need to do. If FSD needs more information, you will get a form that you will be required to return. And I always did, because during that time period when I was in assisted living, let's just put it, I had more than one job there for a minute, for at least like the second and third year before I got my job with the state. So because of that constant change, every time there was a renewal, I had to come in with paperwork. And it's true for a lot of people who are disabled who work part-time, because let's face it, majority of the time you were pushed during that time period if you're disabled into fast food. Fast food will burn you out faster than even a call center job. And if you've ever worked a call center job, particularly high pressure sales, that's kind of saying something, especially if you've ever worked outbound. We curses the outbound, precious. You have no idea. Never do outbound. Ever. Kill it with fire. If your address has changed, you will need to update your contact information to make sure you get this important information. You can do this anytime by reporting the change online. For a lot of the older folks, that's going to be visiting the local FSD Resource Center. Now, the current cuts, we may be looking at pretty quickly a similar situation to what's going on with Social Security right now. As of right now, at least out here, I haven't heard of any of the offices closing in any of the other smaller rural areas. But considering how much our current president wants to take out of Medicaid, I can definitely see where we're going to end up in a situation similar to Social Security, where there's just not going to be enough people to be able to man the phones. You're going to have a lot of older folks out here that live out here because the cost of living is lower than other places out in the country. But if you live in a rural area and you don't drive much, and you are like 80 to 90 years old and you don't know how to use the internet, and then the next thing you know, you can only be able to do this sort of annual renewal in person at an office that's 2 hours away, you can see where there's going to be issues. Let me go ahead and continue that they do recommend to create an account on the website. I would advise most folks, I'm just going to say this. If you all have elderly folks in your family that are not very familiar with the internet, that do use help from food stamps or SNAP, for the love of God and all that's holy, don't make those poor people try to struggle to get this done over the internet. When I was working for Wayfair, I had so many older folks that would just calling in bawling because they were so frustrated and upset. They barely knew how to even use their email. So if you have elderly folks in your family who use SNAP, for the love of God, if there's anything that they need to do that's going to be easier to do online, please do it for them. Please do it for them. Do not leave them hanging. especially if they don't drive due to advanced age. Because once those offices close, you're talking 2-hour drives with annual renewals, and they usually set everybody's up about around the same time. So by the time you get to the office, even at the best of times, you're looking at an hour and a half. If we start cutting down how many offices you are, that time period of waiting is going to go up. So, for the love of God and all that's holy, please help your elderly family members if they need help in setting stuff like this up in regards to Medicaid, in regards to SNAP, in regards to anything. Okay? They're older. Alright? And I say the same thing about Medicare, too. Don't try to make them figure that out on their own. Don't be that person. Complete your annual renewal. If FSD needs more information to see if you still qualify for health care coverage through MoHealthNet, you will get a form in the mail and loaded to your FSD benefit portal. You will need to complete, sign, and submit this form by the deadline in your letter, so you do not risk losing your health care coverage. Here are all the ways you can submit your annual renewal, which they have all that information right here. You'll have a link to this so that you can pull it up and take a look yourself. Now, they have a few videos, such as frequently asked questions, create your benefit portal account, and all of that good stuff here. Now, they of course are giving people like me the tools to help you guys be able to know what to do with your annual renewals. So, there's all that information there. Now, I'm going to leave this up, and there's going to be another thing that I search for here in just a moment that I want to include in this video here. Alright, let's go here. And I'm going to include the link from this here as well. The AI link. Medicaid eligibility can be lost due to several factors, including increased income, changes in household composition. For example, say you get married and your combined income is above the threshold needed for you to be able to continue to receive Medicaid benefits. Moving out of state because you would have to switch to that state's form of Medicaid, or failing to complete required renewal paperwork. So that's why I am so adamant that individuals help their elder family members who have Medicaid or Medicare take care of the things that they need to do online, because a lot of these folks are getting up to the age where it's not so safe for them to be driving, and with Medicaid and Social Security offices looking to close and them looking to drop personnel because, you know, stupid so-called big beautiful bill is more like a big beautiful piece of crap. But anyways, you know my opinion on that. But yeah, help them with the internet. Don't leave them to struggle with it. Because a lot of these places are going to be 2 hours away. And speaking as someone who doesn't drive, and anything I have to do, although I don't need this anymore, I have that all taken care of secularly that I'm paying for on my own. it's still a gigantic pain in the ass and a feat of engineering to essentially arrange transportation just to do things such as going to the doctor and going to fill prescriptions and then going to the neurologist. It's a feat of engineering, folks. Just help your older folks out. If this bill goes through, especially if they still manage to hold on to Medicaid and Medicare, help them out as much as you can. Let me continue. Individuals can also lose coverage due to changes in disability status or aging out of the foster care eligibility. That's more for kids in particular. Alright, let's find out just how easy it is to commit fraud and steal money from the government. Whatever you say, Chair Mike Johnson. You're a disgrace to the name of Mike. Both of my brothers, weirdly enough, both named Mike, are better than him. I don't make the rules. Specific reasons for losing Medicaid. Increased income. If an individual's income or household income exceeds the limits for Medicaid eligibility, they may lose coverage. In particular, this is one of the reasons why they try to scare off people with developmental disabilities from getting married, because if both individuals are on Social Security and Medicaid, they will combine those two incomes together, and every once in a while, that combined income would be over the threshold, and they could lose Medicaid. Now, often it's sometimes temporary, but how many of the folks out there that are actually able to go back and fight it have the time is pretty small in number. So that's one of the major problems. Changes in household, that kind of covered it a little bit. That's marriage, divorce, other changes in the household composition can affect eligibility. Moving out of state, since Medicaid is a state-based program that's incentivized by the federal, moving to a different state is result in coverage out of your state. You would have to immediately go ahead and apply through Medicaid from your new current state of residence in order to try to move over. Now, most folks moving out of state, I would try to at least get the process going in regards to applying for Medicaid to the state you're getting ready to move to, so that you won't have to deal with a lull in coverage while you're in the process of moving. I've seen others deal with that, and the fact that they may go like a month or two without any medical coverage, and these are individuals that require such things like oxygen tanks, for example. So yeah, I definitely highly encourage you moving to a new state, make sure to at least get the paperwork started for Medicaid in the new state instead of just leaving it to lax. Please. Medical stuff is obnoxiously expensive. Failure to renew. And this is why I'm emphasizing that everyone needs to help their older folks on Medicaid and Medicare. Individuals must complete renewal forms and provide necessary information to maintain their Medicaid coverage. Failing to do so or submitting incomplete or late applications can lead to disenrollment. If you got older folks in their 80s and 90s, they're not going to be individuals that are going to be driving 2 hours to a separate office due to them wanting to take a chainsaw to all of our federal programs that help disabled people and people who are not, rolling in the dough. Help them with the internet side. You do not want them trying to drive 2 hours away. Or if drive them, please. Changes in disability status. If a person's disability status changes, it may affect their eligibility for Medicaid. What I've also noticed is if there is a change in the overall state view of what is considered disability, that can sometimes mess with your Medicaid too. These politicians are slick bastards. So keep your eye out for details, because they will try all kinds of things to try to save themselves money to send to the rich people. Okay? Alright, aging out of foster care. Children aging out of foster care may lose their Medicaid eligibility. Administrative errors. Important considerations. Procedural issues. Many people lose Medicaid coverage due to administrative reasons, such as not updating their contact information or failing to complete the renewal process correctly. In other words, you didn't fill something out right. They send it back to you, and by the time they send it back and you're having to renew it, you have to start all over from scratch again because the time has already slipped past. And this happens a lot because out here in this part of the world, for whatever reason, a lot of folks like to procrastinate. And then everybody tries to do everything at the last minute. Hence why a lot of annual renewals then basically lead up to standing room in the offices we do currently have. So don't do that, okay? Churning. Some individuals may experience periods of losing and regaining Medicaid coverage due to income fluctuations or administrative hurdles. This is particularly true, I notice, when folks do freelance work. Kind of like myself at the moment, talking to an AI machine. Or my roommate who's doing the same thing. Certainly pays better. Like $3 higher better an hour. This happened. But yeah, in those situations you will have lulls. I decided not to put up with those lulls, so I just pay private insurance myself the full amount every month, but not everybody has the capability of doing that. So Medicaid may fluctuate in and out, in and out. State-specific rules, Medicaid eligibility rules and requirement can vary by state. Missouri has a bad habit of eligibility rules changing like every 2 years or so. That's why I tell people to keep their eyes on it, because something that may be considered a disability when you first got approved may suddenly not be there. And let's face it, I live in Missouri, where the GOP has no shame to defend child marriage of a 12-year-old on our own Jefferson City state floor. Send help and get me out of here. For the love of God and all that's holy. So, if you're out here, just keep your eye on things. I would say at this point, considering what we've got going on, if you're in the other parts of the state, go ahead and do it there too. Seeking assistance, individuals who lose Medicaid coverage should contact their state Medicaid agency, log into their online account, or seek help from a healthcare advocate or social worker to understand their options and regain coverage. Alright, so now we've gone into the annual renewal, what that looks like, how you can possibly lose your Medicaid. There's a reason why they do constant updates, and if they're particularly suspicious of you, you go anywhere from doing an annual to semi-annual, like every 6 months. So, always keep an eye out for that paperwork that comes in the mail. And I know they sent emails. I do better with snail mail because it's right in front of my face and I can't get away from it. I will literally stick it up on the fridge if there's something I need to do with my independent pay insurance these days. Right on the refrigerator door, right in front of me. Like, because I get my Greek yogurt in the morning, it stares me in the face, and I have to do it before I even eat breakfast. Anyways, not the point. We are going to go ahead and close on out for this month, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel, and the few we do tend to get removed from time to time. So if you could, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, don't forget to hit the comments. I appreciate your time, and as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. We will see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.